Why would they come to our concert just to boo us?
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How we doing, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're back for another crab stream. Determined to keep going with this guy for a little bit longer. Get him all polished up. See if we can get a release going pretty soon. Yeah, it's been... We did it the 1 hour rigging challenge, what, 2 weeks ago? Last week we cleaned him up a little bit in terms of like his joint placement and everything, which ended up taking longer than I thought it would be. And I guess, yeah, tonight I do want to focus more on skinning, but honestly I want to kind of put together a little like checklist of things to do on this character. Because there are more than just skinning fixes that need to do. Like, that's the thing with these characters, you can sort of like keep finding things that you want to adjust. And I always forget what they are. And they're not just to do with skinning as well. So what we might do is I will swap over to the main stream. Oh, and by the way, if Atomic Monkey Pro, thank you for following. I think that came through whilst I was getting everything set up. So thank you very much for the follow. If you're sticking around, feel free to let yourself be known in chat. Would love to hear from you. And what you do, what you enjoy, how you found the stream. Yeah, on that note, let's get the Mr. Crab Monster building so you can sort of see where it's at. Because I have done a little bit of work since the last stream. If you've seen my Twitter post, he's got a little bit of mouth flappiness going on. Did some refinements to the neck and everything. So basically, with this character, it's insanity to skin him all as one single entity. He's got too many different segments, so logic dictates like it would be better to break him down into separate elements, skin those, and put them all together. There's a few things in regards to that I kind of want to set up that I don't have the capacity for in my scripts just yet. One would be getting a bunch of separate meshes, combining them all, and using that as like a final output mesh. I do have the capacity to sort of like combine skin clusters together and then copy it across to another mesh, but I haven't set up anything in my scripts to create new geometry. It just sort of like combines the skin cluster and copies it to existing geometry. So we'll need to set up something like that. But yeah, from last stream, I've gone through, I've added a new tail module. So this is based on my more complicated tail setup, which involves the use of curves, my favorite motion paths, and everything, rather than just a simple aim system. So you can sort of like move these around and do a bunch of different things. In fact, I think you can stretch this out. We grab this and set the stretch blend on. You know, you can stretch everything out if you need to. There was something I even saw on this, actually, while we're going through, and I'm zeroing all this stuff out. I've got a little notepad document here, because I had to orient his eyes a little bit. He had some like wonkiness, but we've got some eye stalks going on, so I can sort of tick that off my list. I've added in some mandible joints, but I haven't created any controls for them, so you can like grab these joints and move around. I think this would be cool. In fact, I think it's somewhat limited at the moment. It's only these two little segmenty things. So we could like add some controls here for some rotation, some translation as well. So set up some stretch-driven keys, so when the jaw goes up, it like pushes them up as well, just to like give a little bit of additional secondary motion. But I probably wouldn't want to just limit it to this. I'd maybe want to extend to some of these other segments as well. Maybe these ones, maybe even these here sort of had like a predator split jaw system or something. That could be cool. Like the more and more I look at this character, the more things I want to add, but I don't want to like have too much like scope creep. Because if you guys have followed my stream long enough, you know that I work on different things and then I'm always jumping to another idea and I never finish anything. So I want to like properly finish and release something for once, and then go back to some of these other things that I haven't released yet as well, and finish those up to release as well. So let us, we've got mandible joints. Let's add in more mandible joints, and we also want mandible controls. Orient arm C in line with the other arms. So something that was also coming up on last week's stream was, I think by default these arms were oriented like this way, which was just sort of different to these other ones, so I just oriented them, which like by default means they are twisting. So when you rotate, like, technically I don't think this is very realistic for like a chitinous kind of grab, but you know, for the needs of these kind of characters, it's like a cheat that's going to be somewhat necessary. I also need to figure out what I want to do with sort of like these segments here. You can see I've done a little bit of skinning on the hands and the connection to the arms and everything, but it's not exactly where I'd want it to be. I think we'd probably want to cheat this end segment a little bit, have it skinned maybe 50% to the wrists, so there's a little bit of rotation in there as well, just to help sell everything and keep it all together. Because there's no way to do this like completely like hard skinned to one joint. It's just going to be too malleable, and it's going to limit animation too much. So I want to make sure that's explored a little bit as well. Let's add that to the list. So explore wrist deformation. One thing, because currently I am copying skin clusters as well, stuff like this with the different segments of the arms, I would probably expect this segment to only be weighted to the lower arm and not have sort of like this softness around the elbow. That's just a result of the skin cluster copying. So we probably want to dig into this skin cluster more and like remove those influences from this area. Although, actually I don't know if there's stuff underneath. Oh yeah, there's a little segment underneath there. Yeah, so that would be good. It'll sort of reveal like the soft undersection in there, which I think will be nice. So let's add that as well. Split upper lower limb skinning influences. We also want to do a general control shape update, because some of these control shapes are like way too big. And I think if we swap over to IK, yeah, like this isn't really good and representative of a good selectable controller, so we probably want to update those. So I'll add that as a note as well. That's probably something we can get out of the way pretty quickly. Update control shapes, create a reference file. Because what I can do is I can create a separate data file which saves out a bunch of control shape information and then load it back in, and it applies it to the whole character. So it's a really quick way of just swapping out shapes that I don't like. Because one thing you can probably see here with like the underarms, we've got clavicle controls, but they are not very selectable. And we also want to look at the clavicle skinning here, because this is all hooked up, but this stuff's not really moving around with it, so that's something to explore as well. Let's add that. B, C, clavicle skinning. See, this list is just going to grow and grow and grow and grow. Yeah, we also want to look at maybe some more rigid skinning on the scapulars and the pecs. I do have... If I've got the joints turned on... Are they not visible? They should be visible. Is it just because I've got X-ray? Yeah, there we go. You can see I've got some like pec joints here. I've got some scapular joints here, but I don't think they're kind of placed in the best positions just yet. Yeah, they're kind of like, that one's sort of trending upward, which probably isn't good, so we might need to change where the target is a little bit. Just make that react a bit better. Same thing with the pec. It might be in a weird position. But yeah, let's add that to the list as well. So more rigid scap and pec skinning. That's, again, something we're not going to be able to weight 100%, but a little additional influence to maybe harden those areas up would be good to sort of give the effect of like chitinous plating and things. I think one thing with the tail that I was going to mention before is when you grab the root control and you rotate it up, like there's this segment underneath here which kind of goes away and reveals this section underneath, which I kind of like. I mean, you probably wouldn't be animating this root control too much by the nature of this character, but just so that's not you know, completely out the window for animators. I maybe want to skin this to the pelvis and see if like this can stretch a bit and maybe hide that. So we'll see how that goes. Skin, tail, root to pelvis, or skin, tail, root, under area, something like that. I don't know what you would call that exactly. Yeah, actually, I haven't even touched these toes either, because I am supposed to be looking at getting the updated toes from the guy who modeled this. But I need to follow up on that and see where that's at, so we might leave those for now. But the legs have definitely got things that we can approach. Like, you can sort of see here, we're going to need to have a little bit of influence sort of from the hips, and we might want to even this out a little bit. We don't want this to be fully weighted to the leg, because as soon as we rotate this outwards, this is going to push like into the body, which isn't something we want. So there is going to need to be a little bit of softness to the pelvis, but we can play around with that. I think I realized before as well, this is like, those areas are weighted to like the upper parts of the spine, which we probably want to get rid of as well. It's okay for the body, but to maybe keep these legs a bit separate from that as its own thing, we probably want to remove those influences. So let's remove spine in from legs, and smooth out upper leg area. One thing that's going to be quite easy to add, I wanted to add some split joints for the knees. So when the knees move around, maybe there's a little bit of like 50-50 on the knee pads. But similar stuff, we want to make sure that the upper and lower parts of the legs aren't being influenced by each other too much. There's maybe a little bit of skinning under there from the lower leg that we want to get rid of. So that's something to look at as well. But yeah, let's go, we'll try like kneecap joints. That's easy to set up. And I think we want to maybe remove, twist is okay, but we probably want to remove any feet influence, because I don't think it's going to be necessary with the setup. So remove ankle influence from legs. We can always add that back in later, sort of similar to what we do with the hands. This song always annoys the crap out of me. Anything else? One thing, I did skin up the head a bit better, so this area is actually attached to the head, and you grab the jaw control, you know, sort of the softer area. Again, we might want to like harden those areas up, so this area is maybe only the softer part. That's just going to be from nature of copying it from one mesh to the other. But we've even got stuff like a tongue and whatnot in here that I added, which wasn't too difficult to do. Oh yeah, let me add to this list as well. Duplication script in rig core. Yeah, so we've got a fairly comprehensive list of stuff we can look at. No shortage of things to do. Just trying to think, anything else? Actually, somebody on Twitter did say they wanted to see this guy's jaw hit the floor. I wonder if I can actually do that. I can turn on my secondary joint, because I do have a control here. Yeah, that ain't gonna work too great. Boo. Definitely don't want to push it that far. Don't break my rig, animators. Anything else? Ooh, I think, yeah, the control shapes on this side are flipped for the claws. I was contemplating whether I want to do like a set-driven key for the claws as well, because I don't think there's an easy way to really make them like come together and pinch this like the end part, unless you're rotating several channels. Hey Rehards, how you doing, buddy? So we may just want to turn that into a set-driven key as well, that people can just...
Slow down, sir.
Oof.
You're going to give yourself skin failure.
Thank you very much for the resub, my man. It is very much appreciated. Oh, you know, I need to catch up. I did say last week I'm going to set up a Discord for this channel. So all the subscribers will have their own unique area. Yeah, I've been busy this week with a few projects, but I think one of my projects is disappearing, unfortunately, which was sad because it was fairly consistent work for me. So I've got to finish off like another project, and then I've got a bunch of free time. So I've either got to find more work or I'm going to work on some personal stuff. So I'm going to try and get some streaming goals out of the way. Maybe even do some daytime streams for once. Like Australian daytime streams, so people in the US and stuff can actually watch for once. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes later this week. I think I've got another day on a project tomorrow, and then I'll see how I go. Like, I don't mind when work goes away sometimes, because it allows me to sort of, I guess, recuperate and like just take a stock take of where all my scripts and characters or everything are. Like, generally, when I've got a project, I'll be creating a bunch of unique stuff for that project, and then I sort of want to reincorporate that back into all my characters. I did a bunch of like bendy joints and things like that, and now all my characters can have bendy joints if need be. So it's like, oh well, I gotta go back into my standard human character, add all that stuff in. Oh, I can do correctives now. Okay, I should maybe add those into the character as well. Face rig, things like that. So yeah, it's good for a short period of time, but you know, if it's lasting several months, they ain't gonna be as great. But yeah, I want to just use the time if I can to just tick some boxes, like get this crab guy finished, maybe set up some other rigs and get them out as well. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. I just need to sort of focus. So we'll see how that all goes. Yes, because I do want to give you guys who are subbed your little shelf icons, because I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So that'll be a thing to do through the Discord. There should also be some new emotes. Have they come through? Have they refreshed yet? Yeah, some of them have come through. So you can now do I've got some animated stuff. You can do the animated skull. I think, yeah, they might not have refreshed. I don't know why, but Twitch is taking forever to approve these things. So I need to stream more. I think you have to stream for like 60 days in order to get like emotes instantly recognized or instantly approved. So otherwise it's like waiting 3 weeks or something at the moment. It has been slow. Let's flip claw control on right side. All right, we've got a fairly comprehensive list. We can minimize that for now and come back to that, but it's definitely some things. I actually sub so you can get a beer for the stream. Yeah, if I get a new subscriber tonight, I will change to hard liquor. How does that sound? Because there's still two founders spots for subs as well, so if people want to grab those, you get your name forever etched in my be right back screen. So I'm gonna have to keep spruiking that. Okay, so crab monster. Let's take a looky-loo. We want to first flip the... ooh, I can also add in the mandible joints while I'm here. So... Are they under... not legs, they're under arms, aren't they? Claw. So I think... Gotta remember which direction to flip. Control shape UI, thank you. These are cylinder base quarters, I think. Ooh, no. Q. Oh, damn. Oh, is it because it's flipped? go based on that. Match that. Let's try, I think it's maybe the Z? Or is it all of them? Oh, let's try that first. Times self, let's go mult, let's go neg equals 1 if aside equals L, else -1. And we can use that to scale that value. I always forget the layers of scales in here, but we can figure that out quick. And after that, let's do a quick error here. Do that quick run. What can I do? I haven't, oh, what is it? Reset build. There we go. So I can count how many times I built. Why? Oh, it's supposed to reset. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Oh well. Because I've got one for errors as well. One error, unless it's I might be resetting the errors instead. Yeah, damn, it's resetting the wrong thing. Alright, well, that's good to know. It's just a simple count thing, so, like, it's supposed to be able to reset it. I don't know, I got it to just remind me of, like, how many times I'm doing things per stream. Or how many things I encounter. Okay, so, did that scale correctly? Oh, it did on one. But not on the others. Why? Same direction. Did I just not do it correctly? Oh, because I'm already multiplying it by negative. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I'm doing that twice. Yep, only need it once because it's deriving from this one, which is already negatively scaled, and then scales those values down. Yep, that's all good. Okay, well that one's done then. Tick that off the list. That was very easy. Actually, while we're here, we can add in some mandible controls as well. Where can I take single joint stuff from? Single joint additions. I don't know. Characters, Komodo. I don't think you've got any. Spider crab? Did you have any? Basically, I have a script somewhere. Oh wait, no, I can do it from the claws. The claws are a single control. Yeah, okay, I can just do that then. Great. What do we want? Wanted them in maybe here. Mandibles. Side in left and right. Mandible dictionary. So basically what this script will do, it creates a locator, which I refer to as a manipulator. That's what attaches to the joint and drives it. And also builds a control on top of it as well, which drives that. So it's a little small chain. You can choose to add or not add controls based on the needs of characters and things. So where would I want to put this under? Put it under the neck. Yeah. Neck A. Side. Mandible. And the reference joint is this one. So joint side, mandible, A base. Cool. Ooh, actually component. Do we want that to be... Neck A. Call this one mandible. And claw scale. So that we don't need to scale those for now. We can just use the single value. Probably just make this square A. Class do word constraint. Yeah, we do want to add those in. So that's going to be to the head. And the head output transform we can find. So this one. Curve output. So we should have neck module. Spine curve. Like output module? Manipulator output modules. I think this should be it. Last one, and manipulator transform. Pivots we don't need those. Do work constraint, no, don't need that. Let's just error out here, so we can test to see if those build correctly. So basically what it's saying is, like, from that joint, build a locator and constrain it and everything. It's going to have a driver transform. That driver transform in this case is going to be the head, so it automatically connects it all up, and it's also saying build a control that'll drive that locator. So like driver to locator, which is driven by a control which drives the joint. Quick way of chaining things together, utilizing my system. Just for one single joint, like good for, I guess, like more like modular bespoke rigging, I suppose. Oh, these are probably like massive. I can manipulate that now. Cool, cool, cool. And if the head moves around, it moves with it. Excelente. Cool. We probably want to orient these a little bit better. And scale it down massively as well. Let's go to maybe 0.5. And we want the rotation on Z 90 degrees. 0, 0, 90. Let's see if that does that. Fix. Ooh, lovely. At least the skinning is not taking too long. It's only about a minute, which may increase because I'm transferring a lot from lower resolution meshes right now. If we start loading skin clusters directly onto the high topo stuff, then that might start taking longer. Oopsie doodle. Well, that's close. Maybe we just do a cube. It's probably easier for now. Cube A, and we can leave it at that. Cube, oh, is it cube base? Cube base, yes. Cool. Alright, that's good. We can tick that off our list. And when additional mandibles come in, we can add those as well. Let's get rid of that error. We're going to do a full build, and then we're going to extract some control shapes. Quickly repost some of them. And I do want to create some better clavicle control selectors. This is going to be like build 4. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody have a good weekend? Good start to the week so far? "45 seconds. I can deal with that. Alright, so from my control shape UI, I can click extract control shape references. It'll just quickly go through, find every single instance of a control on my character, and extract out the shape. So we only want a few of these. We don't need all. I'm gonna grab only the ones I need. So we're probably gonna want to grab these, that, those. Normally need those. Them. Let's pull that out and hide them. Don't really need these for the time being, do I? No, probably not. Oh yes, I had a great Sunday. Went snowboarding with my girlfriend. Ooh, interesting. Just 30 minutes with some music on the slope to boost. That's awesome, man. Has it been, I guess, yeah, because it's winter for you guys, obviously. So it's prime snowboarding weather? A lot of snow? Let's grab all of them. Grab all of these. Yeah, these ones I definitely want to reduce the size of. So these other ones, we can always come back to these later and add in some additional ones. So I'm just going to get rid of that one, turn that into control reference hierarchy, and we're going to start shaping these a little bit. Oops, no, I want to keep that. I want to hide you. So with the likes of this, I want to grab this end part and just sort of like scale it up for the FK to make it a bit more selectable. I don't really want to shift that too much. Yes, I could move that. That's good. We want the hips to be up a little bit. Be a bit more representative of where they are. Can probably scale this up a tad. Move our back selector out as well. Up a little higher. Actually, while I'm here, this is going to be a good time to save. Where is my browser UI? go control ref shapes, and we can save this as a Maya file. First extract. Excellent, there we go, just in case. Always pays to save these ones. The weather is a bit spotty, drops below 0 and then some days up, but we try and catch the moments when possible. I love doing stuff at home, but nothing really compares to the feeling, the breeze and the speed flowing through these. You know, I have never experienced it myself. I have, like, I've seen snow and everything, but I've never done, like, snowboarding or skiing or anything like that, so I don't know it. When does the snow melt? Even if it's, like, above 0? Will it, like, stay... I mean, because, obviously, being above 0 would be, like, melting point, right? Or, like, it's not gonna be freezing at 0 degrees, so... Does it kind of slowly melt? Does it stick around? Teach me the basics of snow. I'm one of those guys, like, when I was in the UK, when I was working in central London in Soho and that, like, whenever it would snow, the very rare occasions that it snowed in central London, like, I'd be, like, head glued to the window, just like, oh my god, this is incredible. Three. That's about good. I want this rotated a bit, maybe a tad. These ones we can increase the size of. Center, center. There we go. The snow place has got snow blasting thingies. So it sticks around. Yeah, that makes sense. But the plus degrees can get quite wet. It's a bit more sticky. In minus weather, it's more like powder. Oh yeah, I've heard people talk about powder and how that's the best, the most totally gnarly, brah. Bodacious. Selectable. Let's increase the size of that one. Actually, I need like, how do I want to design these? Do I want them to go all the way out? Yeah. So you can spend so much time like laying out controls. I don't know if I want to do that too much at the moment. But I guess make things a bit more selectable. I also want to... Do I want this one? This control shape? It's always such a weird... I just like... I should change that out to like just a standard cube, I think, at some point. Cube base. Let's build one of them. Cube base. Come on. Thank you. And we match that. Scale that up. Let's rotate that 90 degrees. How much do we want that to be? About 12? Maybe a bit too big. So I can always pull this out and give it a bit more selectability as well. In fact, maybe pull this back in line with that. That's probably about good. And then all we need to do is get the name of that one, delete that, change the name. Actually, let's keep that one for us. Oh god. Oh, damn it. I hate copying and pasting. What is it going to copy and paste? Oh, good. Yes. I wanted to paste the entire rig. That is exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much, Maya. This should... there's a way to disable that, I'm pretty sure. In, like, your macro somewhere. Or shortcuts or something. Anyway. RGB... that to be blue. Lovely. Save that. But man, I would be quite scared to do. Best feeling is when they bring you with a heli to a place where there's powder. It'd be quite scary. Would you actually like have to come out of the heli and like go down? Like immediately start skiing down? Or boarding down or whatnot? I swear I will get to skinning soon, folks. Hey, Marin, how you doing? They can just bring you to the top somewhere, and I think you can still change your mind. Yeah, one would hope so. You're not locked in. But don't, yeah, it's like skydiving, right? You can go up, you can still go down, but you're gonna be like, you're gonna be paying for it one way or another. Let's duplicate that. That name. God, these really need to be scaled down a fair amount. And this final one. Can match that and scale it down a bit. But I think it might be worth it. I have a feeling like 1 or 2 hours of going randomly downhill till you hit a forest. Oh, wow. That's crazy. So you basically, you just spend all that time just skiing and or snowboarding or doing whatever you want, and eventually you find your way down. Hopefully you don't encounter any bears. Do bears hang out on mountains? Is that a thing? These controls, because there's so little arm to work with here. Oh boy, come back. They're just so tiny and fiddly. Don't want them overlapping too much if we don't need it. But yeah, I mean, one way or another. I think that will make them more selectable than they were before anyway. Skydiving would be something I would love to try, but I have no clue where to start. Bungee jumping would also be something else. See, like, yeah. Oh, I think I'm past that stuff now. I'm too old. Oh, like, all that stuff just isn't as appealing to me anymore with my, my brittle body. As soon as you get over 30, it's just, you know? yeah, I stopped doing like trampoline gymnastics and stuff, and I'm just focusing all on like bouldering. But I can't even be bothered like, I can't be bothered. I just don't really have as much interest like wanting to go out and do like proper rock climbing where you have to like travel 3 hours, 2 hours or whatever, set up all your equipment, you know, do a climb or two and then come all the way back. It just seems so like a whole thing, you know? I'd much rather just go 20 minutes down the road to the gym and spend like 3 hours there wearing myself out. I'm turning 30 this year and I can feel my back not being so flexible. Dude, just like wait until you like get out of bed the wrong way one morning and you can't like walk for the rest of the day and you're like, what the hell did I do? Who have I done to deserve, like, what have I done to deserve this? Who have I pissed off? One thing I want to, yeah, these selectables. Maybe I want to make like a new control that like goes out, diagonal, up. What is the, I think I've got a pin somewhere. What is it called? Pin sphere? So we want to add a little bit more to something like this. Actually, I can show you how I can create my controls as well from this. Let's hide everything else. Create a cylinder. We'll turn this down to 16. Cut that off. Modify center pivot. Ah, cute. Where is that going to? Let's freeze those transforms. Cool. All right, this all makes sense. Duplicate that. Duplicate that. So we got our little sphere set up. Then, so I want this to sort of be like, oops, off to the side. So you sort of have like a little spoke, a little spoke, a little spoke. Maybe we put that further out. So one there. 2.5. 1. Then, what I can do is basically just reconstruct a shape from a bunch of linear curves. Yeah, gym is quite great. I have that already 2 to 3 days even been working on that though. But the contrasting weather messes me up. Once I just bought out the trash without a jacket and there was a cold breeze. Oh wow, really? Sudden back pain from a slight breeze. Oh boy. Okay, well that's next level. Although if it's super cold breeze, I couldn't imagine what like the level of cold is there. Like cold here in Melbourne is, maybe it gets to 0 degrees. That's not so bad. Cold when I was in London was maybe like, I don't know, -5, maybe -10 at most. I think like Canada right now, it's like -30 or something, so I definitely can't complain. Say the many years of a gaming chair. Yeah, this is why I have that reward to tell me to straighten up, right? I've got this like little neck pad thing that I like put here, and then I can like, try and keep my back straight. Let's do this one by one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Then we play the game of basically using this linear curve, or the 1 degree linear curve. Go through on every single point. Doesn't really matter if you overlap or whatever. Go around and around and around. And let's go up here. And we have a new control shape.
You're gonna choose one of these two things.
So I want this to be called pin. What do I want to call this?
Which will it be?
Side?
Money or the
Pin side sphere? Canada got to -48 last week. I'm following the weather and getting scared. Yup. That sounds insane to me. And another reason why I probably wouldn't move to Canada. I am quite content in the weather here in Australia, I must say. Look at this thing, if it's below 20 degrees, you can skip school. Whew. Yeah, because, like, snow days and things, like, I think there's similar things in Australia, like, if you have over 40-degree days, 3 days in a row, I think schools get cancelled or something because it's a health risk, obviously. Like, kids playing outside in 40-degree heat could potentially, like, cause heat stroke or something. So I assume it's quite similar in the opposite direction as well, in the negatives. 80 degrees in the opposite direction. If it was -40, that means 2 free days, yeah. Do we want to call this side sphere? Or what could I call this? Yeah, side's fine. Let's just save that. So basically what I do here is I select this, I go save shape, so we turn the name, and it should, when I click save, add a new one in here. And if we go, I should have a JSON file here with all of these, you know, all the point information in here, which it just refers to, and then can build it back at any point in time.
Be really careful because if you see a bear, there's a chance it'll come up with its chompers and eat you in your head.
Sphere. Boom. There we go. Cool. So, with that, I'm going to pull this up into place. Where's the control ref? Actually, we probably want to increase the size of these ones anyway. 0.25, something like that. Sounds good. Ooh, apparently my other emotes have been approved. That's it's a very unique time for them to be approved, but I don't think they're going to be coming up in the thing just yet, unfortunately. I have a friend living in Montreal told me he was hibernating for 3 days. By -48, it seems like the only sane thing to do. Yeah, I hope the heating system's ready for that. Just freeze yourself for some days. Like, yeah, you just want to stay inside. Let me... Have they refreshed? They have not refreshed for me. But hold on, I will set up the other ones. Settings. Where is it? Rewards, emotes. Yes. And I'm going to... Oh, Cool as Ice. I'm going to retire Cool as Ice for the time being. Okay, so I think they should be coming through now. The new ones. Let's go Chow, go... Happy? Nope, that didn't work. How do I, like, make... I might just have to refresh the chat, but I don't want to. Oh, it did work. Oh. Wait, we got that, and we got... So you got 3 brand new Robbie emotes. You got Bones. And you got the animated skull for our lovely subscribers to use. I would, like, yeah, dream shot of getting to, like, 15 subs, because I think that means, like, you get more emotes. Like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, like, I've seen other streams, they've got, like, list of, like, 20 emotes, and I'm like, I've got 5. How does this work? Is that a time thing? Like, I am super boomer when it comes to all this stuff. So yeah, if anybody wants to become a sub, just saying. You get all these cool emotes, you get stuff next to your name, and there's 2 founder spots left as well. So you get your name on the Be Right Back screen for all eternity. Plus a cool badge that comes with that as well. But absolutely no pressure. It's only for those who want. I'm also planning on setting up a Discord that is currently in the process of being set up. And people who are subscribed are going to get access to scene files and things like that. So I always want to keep, like, tutorials and stuff I'm doing, like, free. Like, as in, like, stuff I'm showing on stream will always be free. But if you're subscribed and you want to actually have access to, like, my scene files, provided it's a scene file that I'm, like, able, like, if I'm doing, you know, a spine rig or whatever, and... you know, it's like, oh, Robbie, how does the spine rig work? I can just give you the scene file sort of thing instead. So you'll always be able to see, like, how it's set up on stream and everything, but if you want to, like, grab the scene files, I want to, like, distribute them through Discord and things. So another reason.
The symptoms you
Marin.
describe point to bonus eruptus. It's a terrible disorder where the skeleton tries to leap out the mouth and escape the body.
Now you're talking. Marin, thank you very much for the subscribe. That means you're also going to get your name in the stream shelf as well. Yeah, and on the okay, I'm gonna have to amend all these things after stream to include that. Actually, I did say if I get a new sub, I was gonna change to hard liquor. Shit. I've got some whiskey. I can maybe bust that out. Oh, Studio Go, welcome as well. How you doing? I'll mark you for next time. Oh, thank you very much, man. That's much appreciated. If you don't subscribe to a Twitch streamer, you are subscribed to... Is that what happens? I don't know. I do not have Amazon Prime because I'm a scrub as well. Because, yeah, do Prime subs do something different as well? Like, I should really understand Twitch. The fact I stream and I should actually, like, spend enough time to invest and, like, figure out how the platform actually works. Just a freebie. Ah, sweet. Let's get that one there and that one there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, let's save this. I am going to get more tea, but I am also going to bust out a shot of whiskey, because that sounds good, that I can sip on as well. Because I did say if I got a new sub tonight, I would change to hard liquor, so I have to stand by that promise. Yeah, for each new sub, I'll have a additional shot of whiskey or something. That sounds good. But I will need to go procure that, so I'll just quickly save this here, swap over to the Be Right Back screen, and I'll be back in just a tick, folks. And we're back. Ooh, actually, look at this. We got a lovely shot of whiskey. Oh, cheers. Thanks very much, Marin. This is thanks to you, okay. I'm not going to scull this. I'm going to gingerly sip it as I go along. Oh. I've only got... Oh, my good whiskey is gone. I've only got Dimple, which I use for, like, mixing cocktails and stuff, but that's alright. Oh. That hits the spot. That'll be good in, like, 48-degree weather. Minus 48-degree weather, I should say. So, where were we at? We want that to be about yay big. Let's do maybe about... Oh boy, what did I select? 12's good. Then this one can maybe be 10? Maybe a little bit less. Hopefully they are... The nice thing about once you have controls that are sort of set up in this way is you can just sort of tweak them as well. So if it's sticking out too much, we can sort of just adjust it in. So we don't want it to be too selectable. Okay, I think that's probably good. So with that, let's hide that. Let's get the names for these. Copy that over. Copy that one. Oh my god, I did it again. Ugh. I need to disable copy paste. I so rarely do this as well. This is like the first 2 times it's happened to me in so long. Yes, paste the entire character. That's exactly what I want. Ay, 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 ay. So we got that. So now... did I fix the leg? I kind of did. In fact, this one we can probably swap out to be a cube as well. Not cylinder, cube. Cube-based taper? I mean, not that that really matters when I'm doing this all myself. I should really have something to prevent that from that, especially since it's not a clean method to import. Yeah, it's such like an old relic. I was like, I don't know anybody using it to any kind of benefit. I think there is a way to disable it. Like, if there's a shortcut, if you go into the shortcuts or whatever, you can probably turn it off. But I don't know if it turns it off for like just all copying and pasting or whatever, but I don't know. Just makes me mad. Match that. Just maybe leave that as that for now. Yeah, very nasty. Off to a meeting. Enjoy your meeting, Rehards. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. Thank you for the resub. Hopefully come back before the end of the stream. But if not, we'll catch you next time. Yeah, and I hope work's going well as well. Let's increase this. How's your job been going as well, Marin? really have to get... I said I was going to do some skinning, so I really need to hop into that for a bit. And just see what we can do. So let's just grab all the left side. Gonna group that. Gonna duplicate it. We're gonna scale it on that axis. Modify, search and replace names. Let's find all the left and rights, and then we just change these colors from blue to red. And hey presto, we've got the other side. And I don't think I have to ungroup these, but hell, let's just do it anyway. For this to all work. Okay, we save this. Save the file. We go over here. Let's create a new subcomponent, control ref data. And grab this. And then I should be able to locate that. We'll call this crab monster A files control ref data 0101 JSON. Save that. So now we've got access to this file with that data in it. We can go to the crab monster, and in our class init, we should have a dictionary for... Oh, we don't. I have to steal it from another character. Did I delete that from this one? Or just have I never used it? About human A. Yes. Yes. I do it on Spider Crab? How have I not, like, replaced any control shapes on these characters? The King Crab, wasn't it? Pretty sure I've done it for this guy. Replace, there we go. I just really hate retyping out all of the different dictionaries. Control ref data. Here we go. Do that. So now, if we do a rebuild, it should replace all the control shapes with these ones. So let's give that a college try. And we'll do a build. Lovely. I started as a freelance 2 weeks ago. Oh, people are very nice and the project seems fun. Just fighting a little bit to find my mark with the pipeline, but I'm doing okay. Oh, that's a really good sign. Is it a, is the rigging system they have there bespoke, like their own unique system, or is it like M Gear or something like that? M Gear or Red 9 or Advanced Skeleton, stuff like that? This is not terrible whiskey. CBB. Could be better. I could put the whiskey in my tea. Irish up the tea. They're using Vitella, which is open source. I have not heard of that one. Is that like a French specific one? Or Vitella? Is it Maya based? And all our control shapes are now updated. Yeehaw! Oh, whoa. Although I didn't change those colors. But I'm quite happy with how all this is doing. Okay. Let's start doing some skinning. So I did want to try out some kneecap. Is that... Oh. Or should I just skin them 100%? No, we can do some 50-50. That'll be cool. Let's go into our interpolation joints. So we don't actually have any in here working at the moment. So let's change this over to knee. So we are going to want to do... opening up these ones... going to be influenced by reference joint's going to be near 0. Reference joint parent, I believe, is going to be hip 2. Oh, I wanted to do a knee split as well. Let's add that in. Knee split. Update control shapes. That's done. Yeah, let's do the kneecaps. Okay, so got that. I didn't paste that, did I? Nope. Joint parent would be the knee. I want to do a mirror. We can figure out what the offset vector is, but we can do that in a build deformation. After that, cool. And let's see if that works. I'm not sure if it's French. It's my base for sure, but it's difficult to explain what everything does. Basically, you create a structure with joints, and then you run your own code. Like there's classes such you can go and say chain is going to be an IK. Okay, that's cool. So it's really workable, and you can do a lot of different things with it, included adding your own classes. Unfortunately, the documentation is not very clear, but it's great. That sounds awesome, honestly. Yeah, it sounds very customizable and malleable. So like when you're doing more complicated characters, you can, you know, specify a bunch of stuff. That sounds great. Fake Pivot. Can you quickly explain what this Python script browser you are using? Is that a third-party app? Fake Pivot, are you talking about when I'm like toggling between programs? So I'm like in Maya right now, and then I go over here, and I've got all my Python scripts. Is that what you're talking about? As opposed to like just the script editor here in Maya? Yes, so this is PyCharm. PyCharm is my IDE that I use. IDE? That's what they're called, right? Some people use... I've used Sublime a little bit as well, but PyCharm, just because my code's primarily Python-based, I use it for all that. I think if people are doing, like, C++ coding as well, they may prefer Visual Studio or something like that, but... yeah, highly recommend PyCharm. It's great. And Maya's got a bunch of, what do you call them? Code interpreters or something. So you can specify, like, you can give PyCharm the file path, and it'll automatically have all the, what's like, when I correct commands, we got something space locator should have come up. Or like it auto, oh, it should autofill or whatever, it just doesn't error or, anyway, yeah. There's some good stuff with PyCharm. I like it a lot. Plus it's all hooked up to my GitHub, so I've got version control and things like that, so, yeah. Okay, it was a UI, it was similar to Maya. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm like toggling in between them. There is like, charcoal editor that you can use as well for Maya. You do have to pay for it. It's by, what's his face? Like, hold on, if I do my recommend, is it recommends or, I always forget. If you go to Chris Zerbriggs, so you don't subscribe to his Patreon, but I think you can buy it outright from his website. So it's like a little editor that you've got, which basically has a bunch of save functionality and things like that, which is really good. To be used in Maya. So, but like PyCharm is free. At least you can get like educational versions and things like that for free. So the only thing you have to get around is maybe spending some time setting it up. But there's tutorials out there for doing that kind of stuff. I use this Keyframe Pro. Yeah, that's a really good tool as well. Yeah, yeah. I've subscribed to Chris's Patreon. He puts out like 2-3 new videos at the end of every month, and they're always like really really informative on a bunch of different subjects. So yeah, I highly recommend checking him out if you haven't already, but it seems like you know who he is already. Where were we? We were at the knees. Oh, the knees not pointed in the right direction at all. But they should interpolate correctly. So let me just go interpolation joints, manipulators. Man, this whiskey is already hitting, guys. I'm a lightweight. Well, I haven't really eaten much tonight as well, so that's not great. We want this to be... Let's zero that out. We want to do maybe 0.5 and 3. I think that'll be good. Okay. Let's go back to interpolation joints. So we want the offset vector. This is a purely cosmetic thing, just so I can see where the joints are. And what's it? Negative 0.5 and 3. Yep. So that should be good. Have I set up knee splits on anyone I can steal from easily? Yes. Let's take that. Or maybe do this one at a time, just so we can make sure each element is working first. We don't have driven keys imported in, so let's do that. In my commands, we can import in the driven keys module, which is used for setting set driven keys. Oh, and I also need to do... Oh, yeah, because I don't have pose interpolator set up, because I use that for now. Andre Raphael 94. Howdy, welcome. I think you may have posted before, it seems like it, but might not have seen you for a while, but yeah, welcome. Do you need to learn Python for rigging? So you absolutely don't. It just makes things a hell of a lot easier. Generally, I'd probably recommend starting with MelScript and Maya first. Basically, you're going to either use MelScript or Python to script up all of the stuff you do over and over again. So if you want to create an IK leg, you don't want to be creating it manually every single time. You just script that all out using either Mel or Python, and you can create a more comprehensive library. So next time you're like, I want to create a leg, I just press one button and it does it all for me. So that's essentially what all of the stuff you're seeing here is. This is just code that I've written out, which does a whole bunch of things in Maya, automated behavior, and I'm controlling that automated behavior to create rigs in a much more, I guess, in a much faster turnaround. Like if you followed some of my streams before, like a few weeks ago, I built the original version of this crab rig in an hour. You know, like that's the kind of power you can have when you've got a comprehensive library of things that you're familiar with and you can use again and again. In French, we say "faute éponger" when you need to eat to save. When you need to eat to save you from alcohol. Oh yeah, soak it up. Yeah. I also I butchered that pronunciation as well. I apologize to all the French folks in chat. Oh, and I do have some tea as well. Yeah, if you guys want me to keep drinking whiskey, make sure to subscribe. For each subscriber I get tonight, I'm gonna, have another shot of whiskey. So, up to you folks. Otherwise, I'm sticking to tea, and I'm having a very nice evening, a very nice sleep tonight. So, yes, let's make sure that builds correctly first. Yeah, because we're going to need to set up the pose interpolators as well. And I can briefly explain what pose interpolators are and why they're really cool as well. Are you guys familiar with pose interpolators? Might have heard the term or viewed them yourself. Let's take a look at these knees. So what I've been setting up now is what I call a interpolation joint, which basically takes the rotation of two different joints and finds the middle ground between them. So in setting it up here on the knee, basically when you rotate the knee, it's only going to get 50% of like the knee rotation and 50% of the parent in this case, which is the hip, and just like find a middle ground between that. So it's really useful for things like knees, for preserving deformation of like the glutes, on your shoulders, things like shoulder pads and stuff as well can be useful using this method. So I've set it up so we can try it against the kneecaps, but I also want to set up a knee split. So a knee split is when you rotate the knee, because I have two twist chains, so a bunch of joints which will twist independently of the joints that we already have. I want to sort of pull it out a little bit so it sort of wraps around the bone. It's not just like the rotation isn't just stuck here. It sort of pulls out a little bit, and that just allows the deformation to sort of replicates the effect of a bone pivoting around another bone, and can help deformation without too much like heavy investment into like doing a sculpted shape or something like that. So what I need to do to set this up is I need to do I have pose interpolator set up here? Yes, let's steal that from the human, and I'm gonna put that under crab monster. Gonna get rid of the ones we don't need, but we've got one here for a knee split. So I'm setting up a pose interpolator on the knee joint. It's gonna be called this. It's gonna have a bunch of neutral poses. Twist axis are gonna be Y, and it's got a few poses in here. So what a pose interpolator does, it allows you to set poses, like pose references from joint rotation and translation, or basically any kind of any transforms rotation and translation. We use it in the case of joints with rotation just because like what I'm saying here when I'm specifying like it's going to, when it's hitting 150 degrees going backwards, it's going to activate a 0 to 1 value, and we can use this to either drive corrective shapes or we can use it to drive other things. In this case, I'm going to use it to drive this knee split that I'm talking about. So like it'll rotate, rotate, rotate. When it hits the 150 degrees, it'll slowly be like going from 0, and when it hits that value, it's going to turn to 1. Same thing going the other direction, like there'll probably be a little bit in the inverse direction as well. But let's set those up. So I'm just specifying that in a dictionary. We can go here, pose interpolator, build pose interpolators, dictionary list, and pose interpolator dictionary list. Just pop that in there. And from here, I can just use this custom method, which all it's doing is setting a bunch of set-driven keys to pull these things out. So hopefully if I just run this, I think it should be able to demonstrate what it does pretty easily. Taking its sweet time. We can also count the build. And I believe that's all run through. So now when I rotate this around, you can see these joints are now pulling away. So it's basically pushing them out and they're now aiming offset. So it sort of creates this like offset, which we'll call it like, that's why we call it the knee split, because it's splitting the knee apart. But it can be useful for like elbows and things as well sometimes. So if we let that run through, and we can go to the deformation. Actually, we want to do that after the, not the deformation rig, after the deformation is loaded in itself. So this is why Python scripting is so useful, Andre, because I'm using a bunch of scripts I've built before on other characters, I was like, oh, it worked in there. I can pull it all over, maybe change some elements of these dictionaries that I've set up, which contain all the data that I want to change, you know, the different variables that I want to change each time. And then I run it and it instantly builds, rather than me having to go through and manually set the stuff up, where I go, okay, you know, I have to go into the different menu, I have to find where the pose interpolators are, I have to set it all up and everything. The only problem is, like, setting up something that's this in-depth takes a long time. This is something I've been working on in my spare time for years, and for the last year when I've been doing freelance, I've been working on it more full-time. So, like, there's a lot of good solutions out there for rigging workflows that already exist. Stuff like M-Gear, Red 9, that one that Marin was talking about before as well. Like, these are all sort of like preset ones. You just need to know your way around Python and things to really utilize them to their full potential. I guess that's a production workflow. I'm a 3D modeler, but I'm curious about rigging and scanning. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is good to know a bit about rigging if you're a modeler, just to sort of understand what's beneficial about, like, topology, edge flow, and edge loops, and where you want to add them and things like that. Good places to join quads and everything. So, with all of this, let's hide that. And I think if we rotate this now, that's all pushing out. So if I was to go into aim, no, not aim, twist, leg, knee, is that the basic manipulators? And we can see now, like, we've got some set-driven keys on this value, so it's like pulling the leg out and allowing a bit of, like, if it was just straight up on the knee, the deformation would look like this, but it's sort of pulling it out a bit more, and it could even be, like, pulled out a bit to sort of, like, help ease things some more. Honestly, yeah, maybe on this character it's not actually as useful, but, yeah, who knows. So many subgroups. Yeah, this is all stuff that is just all done through automation. I don't even really need to worry about most of it. I just need to know where things are, and then I can find it, like, logically. Yeah, some people don't like using this many, like, groups on top of things. This is just the method I like to use, because it allows me to really easily, like, if I want to add some automation on top, I just, like, add a 0 group above it and, you know, connect some values in there, and it works pretty nicely. Let's go extract and set. Let's grab this and let's go back to the A pose. So, knees. Let's get rid of that. This is the point where we actually skin something. Let's see how that looks. Not too bad. Nah, yeah. It might not actually be as nice as I thought it would be. Trial and error. What if we just skin these completely to the knee 0? So let's just select the left one and the right one. This is probably going to work better. Yeah, a bit of clashing on the top. That's the nice aspect of the softness. Yeah, we'd maybe want to soften the top edge a little bit. What we can do as well, let's go to here. Let's go into NG Skin Tools. Set this up. We want to go twist L leg, because we want to take away. Actually, let's set some keyframes. We can sort of rotate that, there's a little bit of influence here. Oops. That we want to take away from this upper section and just see what that looks like. It's a bit of experimentation just to see if some more, like, rigid weighting is going to look better, but we may still need to require some softness just to stop everything from clashing. It's always that nice balancing act. So if I go distribute to other influences, you can just cut the weights that's in here, I think. Let's see how that looks. Honestly, the softness is probably beneficial in these parts. How do we want to approach this? You see on this side, although everything is sort of soft, it plays, or at least if we don't pay attention to the kneecap, it sort of plays together a bit better. Tough choice, tough choice. Same thing, like this is what I was talking about up here as well. I sort of want to, I think it's probably going to be beneficial to eliminate it here. Let's go arm. Oh god. It's going to need to play some better music. Let's go. Elbows all good, but that. Ooh, why is that not distributing? We can add that here. There we go. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, the softness might be better here in the middle to sort of stop collisions, but it's more beneficial to not have it on the back because that's the part that's a bit more obviously, like, going to be deforming. The question is like, anybody even going to see this as well? This is always like rigging problems. It's like, oh, I really need to perfect the skinning in some areas, but like most of the time you can sort of get away with it because people aren't really focused on those areas. Everything's moving too fast. Like, it's probably sacrilege for me to say, but like really detailed deformation for the most part doesn't really, I feel doesn't really matter in animation most of the time. It's more how it feels, you know? And sometimes we put in so much effort to deformation that could probably be spent elsewhere. That's why I do like work in games sometimes, because just by the nature of the games, they maybe can't have deformation that's as detailed as like a film character or whatever. But again, it's like the feel is still there, and it's, you know, it's not so much of an issue. Because this is, yeah. Like, because this is rigid here, right? But we sort of want a little bit of softness, maybe just at the end. Let's try that, actually. This might be a bit more of an exploratory stream about skinning this guy. Just seeing what we can get away with. Like, if I go wrist, and we just do some very... Oh, boy. Why are you going over there? Oh, wait, is that... Oh, it's the wrong bind pose? Yes, it is. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Come on, guy. select you? Why can't I select anything? Maya? Hello? Well, that's just great. For some reason, I cannot select anything. Thank you, Maya. I might have to do a reset. Hold on. Huh. Great. Alright, let's just do a rebuild on that. And we'll try again. Yeah, by the way, if anybody's in chat and has questions about what I'm doing, rigging in general, anything, just feel free to ask them in chat. Always happy to answer as much as I can. Alright, so let's do that again. I probably want to more evenly distribute the twist, or because I actually less evenly distribute it, because right now it seems to be very even from like here to here, when I'd want it to maybe start a bit like more in, so this part is more rigidly following with the rotation, which is probably just how I've got it skinned on the other group. I don't need to change that around. The other transfer mesh that I've got, I should say, not another group. Is there a script to overwrite an existing mesh with the same named one? Let's say I want to change the UVs in a software and I want to reload the mesh but delete the old one without having to rename everything. Is there a script to overwrite an existing mesh with the same named... Change the UVs in a software and I want to reload the mesh delete the old one without having to rename everything. I'm not quite sure I'm following, Andre. Like a export, change, reload. Oh, change a reference. Same one. Oh, so... Oh, I think I get what you're saying. So, like, say... I guess, like, say you've given a model to a rigger, they've skinned up everything, the vert order is a certain way or whatever. You want to give them a mesh, like, just reload that mesh, but everything sort of stays the same the way the animator's got it. It's just maybe updating the UVs or something like that? In that kind of mentality? Because, like, I think most of the time you sort of want to work around that. Like, generally when I'm building a rigged character or whatever, I will have a model file that I import into my scene. And if I ever get an update from modeling, I just, like... update, you know, change that file over, make sure the vert order is the same or whatever. So my skinning will often be loaded on based on vert order and things like that. So as long as the vert order remains the same, even if the mesh is in a different place, like the skinning should still load. In Blender, you duplicate and transfer X to the new version. Pray nothing breaks. Yeah, it's going to be a mixed bag. I think transferring things over. There's always going to be differences, like, for example, like transferring skinning between two different meshes can go a bunch of different ways. Like, you can use UVs, you can use world space, you can use the vert order. Whereas, like, transferring UVs from one mesh to another might be completely different. Like, Maya's got, what is it? I always forget where it is. Is it Mesh Tools? Transfer attributes, where you can open up this and you can transfer vertex positions, UV sets, and things like that. So generally, this is what I use when I want to copy UVs from one character to another. Yeah, but when you import the same mesh back, and you kind of have to rename the old mesh so they don't hit each other. Oh, so you've got like duplicate names? So you want to like update the names and get rid of the old one, but only for a few things? Is that kind of the idea? So you've got an old mesh, you bring in the new one, it adds like an _1, or it adds just a 1 to the end, a 2 to the end, or something like that, and you just want to
Why would
rename
he
them
come to our
automatically.
concert just to
Oh,
boo
thank you
us?
very much for the follow there. Dmitry Maximov Gala. Ooh, that is a fantastic name. 1 minute to explain. Yeah, it's probably difficult to explain via text and things as well. So I'm just going to quickly add a bit of deformation for the wrist. See, that's like too much influence from the wrist, right? But what I can see sort of working because you sort of want this it coming with it a bit. Like we can pop smooth a few times. Let's pop that up. So we just smooth out that influence, so there's like moves around and follows everything. But this then makes this chitinous plating like very soft, but we could probably scale it down. Like if I scale it down 50%, apply that. So there's like a bit of movement, but it's much more subtle. Like it's still there, but it's not as in your face. Like we'd even scale that down another 50%. That's like 25%. In fact, you'd even maybe want a little bit of skinning back to the wrist here. It's kind of nice, actually. But you'd probably want a little bit of 50% on the thingy as well. Okay, so let's say I have ST torso. I do UVs. UV, export the mesh to make UVs. I'm going to reload that mesh. Yeah, I don't think there is a way to do that, Andre. Like, I think the way I do it is I just delete the old mesh, import the new one, and that would be it. The alternative would just be a quick renaming script. Like, you could use the script to import the file, find what's in the file, grab those names, you know, do a wildcard search for those names if they already exist, delete the old one, and sort of like reload it. In that case, it seems like just manually doing it would probably be easier than learning scripting just for the sake of it. Yeah. Yeah, like, there's definitely a way to do it. I think just, like, the extent of what you'd sort of need to learn in order to get it working might just be outweighed by the fact you could just delete it within a few clicks or something, you know? Because I believe, like, I've got stuff where, if I go... So I've got this little tool that I utilize up here on my script bar. Export and import. So this... Just very quickly, whatever I've got selected, it'll export it to a temporary file, and then I can import it back in if I open up a fresh mire or whatever. So this is really useful if I've got something I like locators that I want to hold on to. I just export them to a file, open up the file that I'm looking for, and import them back in. It's sort of like that's my way of copy and pasting, but actually useful. So like if I export this pcube1, like if I pop this over here or whatever, I can export that out. I can delete that, and then I import it back in. But if I import it like twice, it'll add like a prefix to it, I think, a few times and stuff like that. So that sort of gets around the double naming or whatever, and then it would be like, okay, it's in, and then I delete the old one, and I just like, you know, quickly rename it or whatever. Yeah, how do I do that? Edit. It's in projects, temporary export. Yeah, all it's doing is just... So it's using the commands file command. It's getting a file path, forcing true, equals 0, saving it as a Maya ASCII, and it's just exporting the selected. So the nice thing about Maya is any of the Maya commands, you can just like type them into Google and it'll come up with some documentation for them. There is like a way to do it within Maya, but I always forget how to do it. It's just, I just do it quickly through like Google. But yeah, like there's ways of just importing and exporting. I think by default Maya standard ones might add on a namespace, which can sometimes be not beneficial because it'll start like clogging up your namespace editor. And I think mine doesn't do that. Is it like preserve references? Yeah, merge namespaces on Clash. Yeah, there's some option in Maya that's sort of like when it's imported, it adds a namespace or something, maybe. Or maybe that's referencing? Yeah. It's a rabbit hole to go down, that's for sure. I feel like I haven't really done too much on tonight's stream. What else is on my notes? It's like, what can I do quick? We haven't really done much exploration into the skinning. What can I do that's like quick and interesting? Because all this stuff is going to require... Oh, I also want to do like load latest skinning option. Hey, 10-1 Visions! Welcome, Lucas. How you doing, bud? It'd be cool to do some like mandible automation, maybe? Where's graph editor? Let's turn that linear. How would this work? Sort of like hits there, rotates and pushes up or something? Something like that would be cool. Just so when the mouth goes up, it's sort of like, oh, it pushes those up. Yeah, because I was talking about maybe adding some joints to that as well. Doing good. Had an interview about a job last week. Oh, interesting. Yeah, how did it go? Think it went pretty well? interesting job. I think it went well. They seemed interested in my portfolio, so fingers crossed. That's great, man. Yeah, that's really good. Big studio? Small studio? I mean, to me, a big studio is like, you know, I don't know, NPC, DNEG, Weta, who have like hundreds, if not thousands of people across the globe, so. Maybe I will, yeah. What's the time? It's nearly 11:30. Don't want to go too much longer. Trying to think. It'll be interesting setting up some set-driven keys on these mandibles. You guys be interested in seeing that? So I can sort of like automate this kind of movement with the jaw. Actually, that would be interesting for like... I don't even know if I can do that kind of like starts softer and then gets more. Eases into it. Small studio. It looks like a good opportunity for me to learn and grow with them. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's always a good way to sort of like... You want to sort of cement yourself in certain places, get in while the getting's good, and like help things develop and grow and everything. Well, I'm rooting for you, bud. That sounds really, really cool. Hope they have some interesting projects as well. Or do I want to do duplication? Actually, a duplication script might be the way to go. Do that in rig core. Because I wanted to set up something on in the prepare, because that's been a while. Or would that be a defamation? No, it'd probably be in here. And duplicate and combine. It's hard to start in a big studio, I think, even impossible as a junior. It can sort of depend, Andre. Like, it sort of depends. Honestly, it kind of depends on how desperate the studio is sometimes. And that's sort of, like, mean to say. Because the issue being, from a production standpoint, they always, like, big studios always want to hire seniors, right? Or like mids, like people who somewhat know what they're doing, so you can just sort of like give them a task and they can do it, and you know there's no needing to babysit or like take someone who's more senior and look over them. But if certain studios don't have access to enough artists, you know, be it, you know, they're in a place where maybe it's harder to get artists in or whatever, like, you know, through lockdowns and pandemic times or whatever, you know, it's harder to get people across, so you know, beggars can't be choosers sort of things. That's when juniors can really, like, take advantage of that. Because they were like, you know, we just need somebody, so we may as well take somebody who's maybe inexperienced, but they can actually do the work. Like, when I first went across to NPC, I was still very, like, I had experience in the industry, but I was still very junior rigger. Like, I'd done animation previously, and had only been rigging full-time maybe like 6 or 8 months or whatever, so I was still very like junior in my reel. But yeah, they hired a bunch of juniors, we sort of like built us up and everything, and you know, sort of went from there. But that might also have been like NPC, maybe more senior people weren't biting for them for various reasons. So I'm gonna do like, so duplicate and combine dictionary list. So what do we need? So basically what I want to do, guys, is I want to create a script or a method that will take a bunch of geometry, so you can specify, like, I want to take all of these pieces of geometry, I want to duplicate and combine them. So it's going to create a duplicate of all of these and then combine that duplicate together. So basically I can use all of these separate pieces of geometry, skin them up all individually, and then I can use my combined skinning script to pull over all that skinning onto one single mesh rather than all these individual ones. Because it would be nice to have this in like a game engine and stuff as well. And I think like the fewer meshes for that, the better. So I want to specify, I guess, like meshes, mesh list. Combined name. And I guess parent as well would be good. Combined geo. Do you do consultation critique? I have a pipeline built, but I have run out of improvements for myself. But I also have no professional experience. Do I do that? I've never really done it in that capacity before Studio Gold, but potentially. Yeah, I'm not too sure, because I guess it's difficult for me to critique a pipeline as well. In like do you have like any demonstrations on YouTube and stuff that you could maybe send me or something to look at? So you still do not have an answer there, the import export buttons. Are those your scripts or... Oh yeah, so those, sorry Andre, those scripts are ones I have created myself, but they are only using they're using a Maya command. So I've got my temporary export and temporary import scripts here, and you can see I'm just specifying a file path. I'm using operating system path join to put it in a temporary location, yeah, putting it all together using just commands and, you know, exporting that and importing it using the same stuff. So it's a very simple script, but if you don't really know what all of these different flags are in the command, like, it might confuse you a bit. You can look up the documentation, but sometimes it's just best to like trial and error. But again, if you're not really familiar with Python at its core, like if you haven't really had a lot of Python experience, this still might be confusing to you. In fact, I might recommend checking out that Chris Zerbig guy, because his Patreon, like it's $20 a month or whatever, but like he's got like introduction to Python and stuff like that, which is really good. Same with Grover's Python course on Udemy. It's super cheap at the moment, and similar stuff. It helps build up kind of ideas with Python and that, and I recommend them a lot. ChatGPT might help as well. Yeah, honestly, it might. But I can't vouch for how successful and smooth it'll be. Because I hear, I've never used it myself, but I hear it lies a lot. It says it's done something and it hasn't, or like if you use it to like write an essay or whatever, it'll attribute something, like it'll have a reference or whatever, and that reference will just be a lie. So, you know, sometimes it might work for you, but other times it might not. So we want to do this. Yeah, I think that it's got some interesting applications, that ChatGPT stuff. I think it's useful in these kind of situations where you just want a script that does something, but you don't want to invest like a couple of days or, you know, several hours figuring out, you know, the core basics of like Mel or Python and putting it together or whatever. Like, I think it's got some applications for that. I think it's really nice for like animators and stuff. So, yeah, the Udemy course, I highly recommend it. That's what I used to learn Python, actually. When I was working at NPC, their Python was Mel-based. Their pipeline was Mel-based. So I used Mel primarily, and then I learnt Python in my spare time, and when I moved to other studios, I used Python. So that's the course that I used to learn it. So want dictionary list equals none. Duplicate and combine. Rats. I just do. So that should be geometry list. Combined geometry name. That's good. Cool. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I have a rig core class. So this is what I derive all of my other rigs from. So there's a central core class, which has all of this stuff in it, a bunch of key information, and a bunch of key scripts that I used over and over and over again. So stuff like building twist joints, aim joints, things like that, which I can feed different dictionaries to change how it all builds. Similar, like you can go down further, you can see like, you know, loading skin clusters, copying skin clusters, and that and there. So I'm just creating another core script in here that's going to duplicate and combine these geometries, and then I just need to feed this a certain dictionary in my crab monster rig, which is subclassed from rig core A. It's the rig core class there. So once I'm changing all these variables in here, updating dictionaries, adding different things into them, all this stuff updates and changes. So it's really nice to have Python for usage of this like overriding of classes and subclassing and things like that. It's incredibly beneficial once you wrap your head around it. Duplicate, combine, geometry. How long have I been in the industry? It's actually nearly 10 years now. The first like proper, because I'm from a small city in Australia. I'm from Western Australia. I'm from a city called Perth, which is a very isolated place with not much of a visual effects industry there. So I did a bit of like teaching and freelance jobs, but I didn't have like a proper industry job until 2013 when I moved to Beijing and did some stuff over there. Yeah, so it's like, damn, this is 2023. It's nearly been 10 years. 10 years in like September, I think it was. I spent some time, I was primarily an animator earlier on in my career, and then I transitioned into rigging full-time in about 2016. I still struggle so much with learning Python. Finished the Chris Zerbig basic course, but still lack knowledge to create my own scripts. Yeah, Lucas, like, you gotta start small. That's the thing. Like, I think the instinct, like, is sort of you want to branch into things immediately. It's like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to build, like, a full auto rigger, you know. I think that's something that all riggers, especially when they're new, want to sort of, like, strive towards. But I find it's much more beneficial to sort of start small with, like, if you want to build an auto rigger, start with just building, like, an IK leg, you know? And rather than building a full pipeline, just each time you manually build a character, you just execute that IK build script and then, you know, go from there. Because I know when I started out, especially doing scripting and things like that, I tried to code everything, but my approach to code was still very new because I never knew it. So my scripts ended up being, they did stuff, but they were pretty useless in the end, and I ended up rewriting them like a couple of weeks later once I knew more and developed more. So I try and keep things as open-ended as possible. Like, don't worry too much about going too broad. Yeah, just try and focus and just, yeah, sort of like what I was showing before. Like, even something like a temporary export, temporary import script. Like, this is just a few lines of code, which maybe takes a little bit to just sort of go into the documentation for Maya commands and figure out what each of these options do. But you're sort of slowly building this basis of knowledge. Like, when I'm scripting out things, you can probably tell, like, I've done things so many times, it's just like second nature to me. Like, commands, space locator, name equals locator, then, you know, like, I can, like, these things just come to me naturally because I've just done them. Like, 1,000 times or more. And that's the other frustrating thing starting out, is you don't have that like library of knowledge. And so, yeah, just know it will come in time, you know? Even when I was learning Python and stuff, like, it took me a few years of using it in a studio and getting used to their way of doing things and how everything's referenced and classed and everything to sort of build on my own knowledge. So especially if you're looking to get this job and stuff as well, I think that'll be beneficial, because you sort of like, you learn by doing. Sometimes it's trial by fire, which helps, you know. Don't think in terms of code, but in time saved. Like exporting something in multiple formats is useful and doable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this is the thing as well. Like, my code base was not built overnight. This is me just over time slowly adding little things here and there. And eventually, over several years or months or whatever, it becomes a hierarchy of code which I can refer to at other points in time. Like what I'm doing right now, like you can sort of see, like this is all the scripts that I've added in here. Like at some point in time, I needed to do twist joints, so I approached them and put them together, and now I can refer to them at any time. If I need to load a skin cluster, you know, I've got the option in here. Like, yeah, it's just slowly building these things over time. Funny things to do when you start is a center finder. Oh yeah, that's good. Copy skin, reset controls and such. Yeah, it's just automating small tasks. That's, yeah, Marin's very correct in that. Get the minutia out of the way before you start scripting massive things, you know? It's always fun to try and attempt those bigger things, but yeah. Yeah, smaller things that you just like do over and over again. Yeah, like skin copying, that's probably a big one. And skin copying is not too difficult. Copy skin cluster. Oh, actually, I'm probably making it. I've got like a bunch of additional things in here. But basically, if you want to copy a skin cluster, all you need to do is find the joints on another mesh, bind those to the new mesh that you're transferring stuff to, and then copying the skin weights using the copy skin weights command or whatever. Like, in theory, not too difficult, but there's some stuff in there that's useful to think about. Like, oh, how do I get all the joints that are attached to a skin cluster? Let me Google that. Oh, how do I use the copy skin weights command? Let me Google that. And this is sort of like, I mean, coders are basically good Googlers, you know? And that then comes in useful at companies. Like, even if you don't know how to do something, you have, if you've got the problem solving ability to go out and figure out how to do it, that's what's like super beneficial to companies, you know? The fact you can sort of do things on your own without having to bug seniors or things like that. Like, you absolutely can bug seniors, and if you know, if you think it's going to save time, you should. But being able to sort of like self-direct and things is so useful. Let's see, what am I doing? I'm just completely off. Now, why did I add hierarchy list? Don't want that. Okay, let's unpack the dictionary that I set up. So, geometry list. Oh, so it's kind of normal since I'm the only person learning coding and the rest of Maya came in so naturally to me. It honestly feels bad about struggling this much. Yeah, no, don't worry about it, man. Like, when I started rigging, I was the guy who was like, everybody's doing scripting and stuff, but I don't need to do that. I'm just going to be the guy who manually does everything. Like, how long can it take? And that's how I worked for maybe, I don't know, 6 months or whatever. And then when I got my first studio job, a place called Alt VFX in Brisbane, Australia, the guy there, Jordan McInnes, awesome rigger, really talented guy, basically built their entire rigging pipeline. He sat me down and he's like, Robbie, you need to learn MelScript. And like taught me a bunch of basics. And then it opened my mind, and I was just like at home on my laptop, just like making a bunch of different MelScripts. I'm like, fuck, I'm an idiot. I should have been doing this the whole time. And, you know, that was like 2016 or something. And then from there, it was just like learning curve, you know, just the amount of stuff I learned just expanded exponentially. Then when I went from there to NPC and I had access to like their code base that's been around for like decades, again, it was just like if the curve was like steep, it was like skyrocketing directly up. It's crazy. So learn from as many people and as many places as you can. That's what I'd say. Rehards, welcome back, my man. Hope your meeting went well. Dictionary get. Actually, empty one. Geo. Parent equals. Okay, so we get our variables. Okay, so what we want to do is we want duplicate. Actually, yeah. Duplicate geometry list equals x. Let's do dupe x for x in geometry list. So that'll just amend that suffix to the end of all of the things in the geometry list. So they go for I in. Actually, we could do geo dupe geo in zip geometry list duplicate geometry list commands duplicate name equals dupe geo to be geo. You can see what I'm doing now. Like, this is me just knowing off the top of my head because I've used these commands so many times. I'm just able to spit it out, right? That's just from repeating this stuff. It's like anything, you know? You just repeat it enough, you know how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, I'll go onto the internet and figure out what variables I need to use, right? But this is simple enough that it should be fine. And the other one, so duplicate all geometry. Now we want to combine into new mesh. Now I believe I've got my own script somewhere that does this, which I think should be under modeling. Combine geometry. Yes. Oh wait, is this under? Yeah, I can use this. Yeah. Okay. So this will be modeling. Oh, I don't have modeling. Load it in. Let's do that. Meetings are creeping on me big time. I'm very thankful that I'm doing freelance stuff that meetings do not pop up as often. It's mainly the interviews at the start, and then they like take the rig and go. Chat GPT has been quite encouraging last month regarding scripting. By the way, Robbie, I've got a question. I'm not really sure yet how to put it into words. How do scripts work with the joints? Like, does a certain script work with a specific joint setup? Like if I want to create like an IK or like a human leg, how does it know like how to create the human leg from the joints that I specify? Is that what you're asking? I must finish rebuilding my small rig thing that I had in my LT, and now figured I can just write scripts. Yeah, well, yeah, if you're getting away from my LT, you can use Python and stuff now, right? So this is going to be duplicate geometry. And combine geometry name. And then I'm starting to figure out IK, FK hands, so I want to have a script that will take care of all things. Yeah, so there's a few ways I can kind of show you on my guys a little bit. Like, it's going to largely depend on, I mean, for me anyway, like,
Cassie.
oh, welcome, Cat.
Cat.
I think that's the first, oh no, there was a Me Wanty before as well. I was like, that's the first thing that's come up in a while on this stream. The first video that's come up from in my case, I mainly use the same setup for the arm joints wise, but I'm just trying to find... yeah, like... It's going to be sort of like how you want to approach it, right? Like, so, for example, my spines, if I look at my spine dictionary and how I refer to it, like, there's a few things I need. I, like, want to specify the pelvis, and I also want to specify the spine. So there's a few ways I could go about it. Like, if the spine I'm building every single time is the same amount of joints, then I maybe don't need to specify the joints. But in this case, because I want to keep it open-ended, I've got curve reference joints, which I can feed it a list, and it's going to do different things based on it. And it'll like find, okay, it'll sort of assume like when I'm building the chest, it's probably going to be the last joint that's specified in this list here, so I create things based on that. Whereas with the legs and things, I think I just specified the start. Yeah, the start reference joint. In this case, it's the hip joint, and then it automatically assumes 0, 1, 2 for like the hip, the knee, the ankle. So this is why when I'm like setting, I've got like a biped leg. I've got a biped leg with a foot, which adds some additional joints for like where the feet are and things. If I do it a quadruped, then it adds an additional joint in there for like everything. So yeah, it's like building on top of things, but keeping things open-ended. Yeah, I think I shouldn't think what I usually done, but need to look at what I need really. Yeah, like honestly, it's sort of down to you sometimes and like what you prefer as well. Because like the stuff I'm doing where I'm like keeping things more open-ended is probably not needed in most cases. Like if I, you know, I could just, it's for like my level of stuff, you know, where I don't really know what's coming in from time to time. Like, but if you're only ever doing like human bipeds or whatever, and you know that's all you're going to be doing with the thing that you're setting up, then like, fuck it, you only need to do it based on a very specific skeleton, you know? Yeah, depends on what's coming in or whatnot.
Now, boys and girls, who knows what this is?
Triangle. Kat, I was thinking earlier today, oh, it's the Homer talking about ballet. And it's like, Marge, please. I love all the arts. And then he's thinking in his brain of like a bear in a car driving around and around. He's like, and I just love how he transitions from like thinking it in his brain to like doing it out loud. Oh, I love it. I need that. I need that to be a command as well. Life is like a piano. The next light key is just right there. I'll add the ballet bear to the list. Kat, how long until your job is done? It can't be too long now, right? I also want to do like, I guess, delete existing. Set that to default. The 20th? That's not too far away. That's like 2 weeks, something like that. Dude, yesterday the dumbest shit happened. Uh-oh. It's going to be false by default. And we're going to go delete original here. if do you delete original jumpy commands delete geometry list. Bing bang boom. Social media manager was like, hey everyone, it's Women in Science Week. All the ladies in the office, let's take a photo together for it. And I was like, hey, I feel uncomfortable doing that. I'm just, oh boy. How dare you challenge the social media manager? Yeah, because it's, I mean, is it just them, like, doing it for PR, essentially? They did one for mental health. Oh, yeah, yeah. Knowing what I know, yeah, I'm not too fly on that either. Yeah, did they force you to do it? Or you were able to, like, say no and hold your ground? I want to put this in. Prepare. She got so pissed off at me and like publicly it was like, hey guys, let's go. It's yeah, I don't like that at all. It's very like, they should be respectful, right? You think if they were inclusive of everyone in the team and they wanted to respect everyone's wishes, then they would, like, what's one person sitting out? Like, who cares? Just 2 more weeks, just 2 more weeks, just 2 more weeks. Repeat that mantra. Two weeks? It's been 1 week. Do I have an it's been command? I don't have an it. Do I? I need to add one. That's, yeah. I don't even know what commands I have anymore. I want to add in. Right, we need a dictionary first of all. Let's find this one. I want all this.
Well, see ya.
I'm eating Macca's. Cat, they won't know what Macca's is. Work is about to start for me. Good stream. I'll send you the demo later today. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah. If there's anything I can take, I'll try and give some feedback if I can. Although I'm a little bit, well, I'm busy for the next day, and then, yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for work. So we'll see. Oh yeah, if anybody, yeah, if people missed it before, if you subscribe, we've got one founder's badge left, I think. Marin got the 9th, so we got one left, and I also have a shot of whiskey if anybody else subscribes tonight. I've already had one, and that's already affecting me, so if you want to make me suck worse, now's the time. What else am I going to put on? What's Rehard's favorite? We got 3D Blast.
Ma'am, did you get any strange people in here late at night? Yes, we do. I wonder what she's talking about. Look, this is a special 7-Eleven. It comes equipped with dancers for your entertainment.
And it's like, ah, what's a good song I could put on? It's like, ah,
The
Rehard's just here.
symptoms you described point
Hey!
to bonus eruptos. It's a
Thank you very
terrible
much,
disorder
Andre.
where the skeleton tries to leap out the mouth and escape the body.
Now you're talking. Okay, well, I have to do another shot now. Ugh. Oh, actually, oh, why is this so difficult to take off? I am supposed to get up and go bouldering in the morning as well, so this is going to be great. Alright, chat. Chin chin. Again, I'm not going to shoot this, but, well, actually, can I? That is shot number 2. The last one I had maybe an hour ago or something like that. Oops. I'm a whiskey drinker. I have been trying, what do you call it? Actually, I don't know the... It's literally just whiskey and apple juice. And it's fucking great. Like, I had... when I was back in Perth, there was, like... one of the bars there did, like, fresh apple juice. Like, fresh green apple juice. With whiskey. And it tasted so fucking good. I don't have a juicer, though. So I've just been blending green apples and adding a few shots to it. And it still kind of holds up. So, must say. Would recommend. 100 mils is a shot. It's not like, no, like 30 mils is a shot, isn't it? How much is this stuff? Oh, it's 44 milliliters. Is a shot 30 mils? Maybe it's only in Australia. Huh. US standard is 45 mils. In Australia, it's 30. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, that's weird. For Russians, it's 200. Yeah, exactly. Most Europeans, I feel it's probably that much. Koreans? Big shot drinkers? I guess, yeah, soju and stuff, right? And we want to call this... What do we want to call this? Model M Crab Monster GM. Still remember my grandparents saying, give this man 200 grams for Jesus. That is, wow. Okay. It was really nice when last time I was in Scotland, going up to the Highlands and that, like, at the hotel that me and my partner at the time were staying at. They, like, when we came in, it was cold, and they're like, do you want a dram of whiskey? And we're like, fuck yeah. They just, like, handed us whiskey. It was great. Warms you up in the cold months. And it wasn't, like, compared to the -40 or whatever it is in Canada, it wasn't that cold, so. I can definitely appreciate my Scottish heritage, that's for sure. I want this to be... Although maybe no parent for now. Let's do that. It's been a while since I've done a build. So we're erroring after import. Yes, that should be good. No object to duplicate. Oh, because yeah, we don't want it to be in prepare. We probably want it to be in defamation rig, honestly. Let's go. So let's take that out. Defamation rig, just for visual reference. Move you here. And take out of that. That should be good in there. Best one of that kind I have heard was from my best friend's mom in Netherlands before a train. Hey, grab some BVO's. What's a BVO? Beert van Onderweg. Okay. I butchered that. I'm butchering all the pronunciation tonight. If we're bar hopping or going from work to the bar, sometimes we just take a roadie. Oh yeah, roadies, yep.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Oh, and it worked. Boom, and we got a combined piece of geometry. Now the question is, where do I want to parent that? Probably just under that as well. I can definitely feel this whiskey hitting now. Plus, it is also after midnight, so... I want to put... What do I want to do?
Why am I not film anymore?
Because he moves a week.
Your moves are weak.
Put that there, that's all good. And I want to set up the combine and copy skin clusters. Now, I've got that somewhere. What do I have it for? That's a way to go here. They're usually an event in someone's home before going, oh, yeah, you want a pre-drink, yeah. Yes, pre-drinks in the mate's house is smart. Man, I haven't done, like, proper pre's in a while. Actually, is that a lie? No, I was doing them when I was in Perth. That's fine. I guess a while is like a month and a bit. Combine a copy. There we go. Brazil and Latvia. Yeah, it's like it's quite surprising how like far out everyone is, like in terms of like the times at the moment. Because it's very, is it early in the morning in Brazil right now? Or yeah, it must be, right? Because it's the middle of the day in Europe, so it must be. Yeah. It's so much to keep track of. Yeah, people might have missed it in chat earlier on, because people might not have been here, but I've been doing like 2 primary jobs at the moment, and one has sort of dried up, so I'm not sure if I'm doing work for them for a bit. I've still got work at this other company, which I'm finishing up, at least the stuff I'm doing very, very soon, probably like tomorrow. So, and then I've got nothing, which is kind of unfortunate. So, I'm going to try and use that time, not only to find other work, but also to maybe try and speed along some of this stuff, like so fixing up this crab guy. I was talking about setting up a Discord for all of this stuff as well. So, all you guys who are subscribed can get access to all the stuff that I promised, like having your own shelf button in the stream and everything, so we can figure out how to do that on there, just by you guys sending me stuff. And I also want to start providing things on the Discord as well, but the Discord will be open to everybody. There'll just be sections for people who subscribed. Because like I want to hand out, you know, if I'm doing like scene files or whatever, I can give them over to people for utilization, so you can get access to like my 1 hour, 2 hour rigs that I did with the crab guy initially and stuff as well. But yeah, I might also do some during the day streams, I guess, if I've got nothing else to do, because I know like sometimes folks who are in like the US and things like that are like, oh, I'd love to watch your streams, but I never can because they're on when I'm waking up or whatever, or while I'm asleep. So, I don't know. Can maybe do one during the day and see if anybody comes to it. May as well make use of the time while I've got it. God, I keep getting distracted. Source transforms. Oh God, yeah, this is gonna be from all of them, isn't it? The streams are already amazing. Such a bon. Ugh. Rihard's flattery will get you everywhere, my friend. Keep talking my language. Tell me again how wonderful I am. and crab monster. All right, let's see if this all goes through. This is quality content, plus words are free. Ooh, is that... Is that like simoleon? What is that? What is that symbol? Oh, expected skin cluster. Oh yeah, I haven't skinned the toes, have I? Let's get those out of there. Yeah, I need to start working on some more emotes as well. But I think to get more animated ones, it's gonna be like, I think I need to have a certain amount of subs as well. And I'm not sure what it is. Well, yeah, maybe it's like streaming for a sec. Yeah, because like streaming during the day as well, like, I think in order to get emotes like approved immediately, yeah, it's like 60 days or something you have to have streamed for. And I definitely have not done that many, so it all adds up, I guess. No object matches air. What the fuck?
Don't you know the poem?
Oh.
Water, water everywhere, so let's all have a drink.
I do have water, and it is a very good idea for me to be hydrating before I go to bed. Thank you very much. No object matches M. damn it.
Forward. No talking.
Hey, Jesse FK, welcome, buddy. How you doing?
Is that gum?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, I'll adjust my... there we go. Now we're in full gamer mode. So, why is... No object matches name M. Source transforms, they're all fine. Oh, target transform sa. That is not in the list. That would be why. I've been doing quite well, my friend. Yeah, we've just been doing a bunch of different stuff on the crab tonight. Not as much skinning as I'd like, but I think I need to sort of delve into things a bit more deeper to figure out how I want to approach things. But we did a little bit of experimenting. We updated some control shapes. I'm currently setting up a duplication, or a way to duplicate and combine geometry through my scripts, just so I can, if I need to create a single mesh at the end of a build or whatever, can easily do that. So just testing that out at the moment. Yeah, so I'm looking at, I'm trying to refine the crab guy, like, because I'd like to release it online. The guy who modeled it was like interested in getting the rig, and I was like, oh dude, I may as well like clean it up. Yeah, we refined like the joint positions last week, and yeah, we're doing a bit of like skinning refinements and stuff like that, just general. There's a bunch of things, like a list of like all the things that could be done. But with that, with this build, yeah, so like we've got a combined geometry here now, which I think should all be skinned up to one thing. Yeah. So through the script, we're just able to duplicate all of these separate meshes and combine them into one, and then copy the skin clusters from all these separate meshes onto this one. And now, you know, you can manipulate all this stuff around and whatnot, and it's all going to be hooked up and everything. So just a nice way of working. Just automating everything. And where is... Oh no, that's the inner mouth we want to do. Is there stuff? Yeah, there's not a lot to the back of his mouth. Yeah, somebody was asking to have like this guy's jaw drop, but I think to do so would be somewhat scary. I guess you could sort of like animate his jaw literally like dropping into his chest. We got some mandible controls as well. So we can do that kind of stuff. He's got sort of like predator mandibles, you know? It's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this guy that's sort of like... It's like crack for riggers, you know? They just like all these little things like, oh, I could, you know, do some additional skinning in here. I could improve this. I could do this and that, you know? But I don't want to spend like too long on this thing if I can. So hopefully with some spare time coming up, I can maybe just bash out the character in a few days and just sort of get it out there. Yeah, but unfortunately, what's the time? It's like 12:15 here. And I think I'm going to have to wrap up that session for tonight. Anything else? How's that Undertale going? Actually, why are the normals in the tail messed up? That's interesting. How are the... Yeah, the normals are fine here. That's very strange. Might be a combining issue. For some reason. Anything else? Doesn't look like it. I might need to add a flag in that as well to sort of automate the smoothing of normals or whatever. But yeah. Yeah, I think that might be it for tonight, folks. It might not have been as skinning focused as I probably thought it was going to be, as I got sort of pulled off on some other tangents, but I'm glad we made some progress with this dude. So we'll see about doing some stuff later in the week, or I might do some stuff behind the scenes and just kind of present it in another stream, either next week or later on during this week or whatnot. But thank you to everybody who has followed tonight, and thank you as well to Marin and to Andre for subscribing. It is much appreciated, and I am definitely feeling those whiskey shots now. Oh, that's gonna be great. But yeah, thanks as always for joining, folks, and I will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you later.